What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the first Halloween review for Happy Gamer. Today, I got a lot of stuff planned, and I decided I'd start now since it's almost 1 o'clock and I haven't put out anything because basically I've been fucking around the whole day. But the first review I'm doing is for VHS 2. Now, it's a sequel, if you couldn't tell from the fucking obvious 2 in the fucking title. But basically what the VHS series is basically a collection of movies. Kind of like, you know how like Stephen King has book collections and he has like short stories in them? These are basically like short films put together, tied together through some mediocre storyline. But I watched the first one last year when it first came out. I got it on Redbox. No, I got it on Netflix. And I saw the trailer for it, and it looked pretty cool. And it came on Netflix, and I got excited. I was like, hell yeah, I want to see this. So I got my brother together, and we watched it on Xbox with all of his friends. We all watched it together, and it was pretty good. Sparked a lot of jokes between us, which we forgot about instantly. But I was in downtown Frederick for a movie audition, and I met the director of the Blair Witch Project, and I got his autograph and everything, and I got to talk to him and discuss why. I asked him why he let them make Blair Witch Project 2, and he was like, yeah, I was disappointed in it too, but I was a producer. And I was like, well, I feel sorry for you. And it came up that he was going to be making a short film for VHS 2. I didn't know they were making a sequel, but apparently they were. So I looked it up, and yes, they were, and it was supposed to be coming out, and I mean, it basically just came out on Redbox. It was straight to DVD, because it's a piece of shit, but basically, it came out on Netflix the other night, and I started watching it, and, I mean, I thought the first one was bad, but it really wasn't. The second one's worse, so I'm going to dive right into it. Basically, it starts off really weird. Basically, the plot is that there are two private detectives looking into a house trying to find a missing child. Well, not really missing, but apparently he hadn't talked to his mom in a while, so they went to go look for him. But how it introduces these private detectives is weird. How the movie starts is, of course, with camera glitching and shit, just going, and then it shows up, these two people are going into a hotel room, and there's a guy breathing and looking around the corner with his fucking video camera, and he goes up to the window and starts filming them having sex. Now, this deterred me from the actual movie, because I've explained this before on my channel, but usually the sign of a bad movie is if they put nudity within the first 2 minutes, because that's the only way they can really pull audiences. They know that they flopped then because they try and put nudity just so people will watch. I would have watched it without the nudity. I wouldn't give a shit. But it's desperation, and that's what deters me from movies. Now, so he's filming them, and a maid catches him. And he's like, no, ma'am, shh, shh. And then the people come out, and they're like, oh, we're going to kill you. So he jumps in his car and gets away. And then he, like, threatens the people, because apparently what he was doing is checking to see if the dude that was having sex with a chick was having an affair with his wife, which he was. And they threatened him and said, you gotta pay us, and we won't give it to her, whatever, I don't know. And then they went to the house because they had to check on the kid to see if he was still alive and why he wasn't calling his mom. So, when they get there, they get to the original house from the original movie, which apparently none of that stuff ever happened. And so we get there, and the guy goes off into the room, and his girlfriend, who is also a private detective, pops in one of the movies. And this is where it goes down. Now, the first short film is good. I really like what they did. Apparently, it starts off with camera glitching, like, of course, and it's basically a point of view thing, like all of them are, because they're cameras, but it's like a literal point of view, because what happens is this guy's in the doctor's office because he got in a car accident, and don't ask me why, but they put a camera as his eye. Why? Fuck if I know. But they decided to do it, I guess, as experimental medical technology and shit. So they attach it to his eye so he can see out of it, but it's also recording and transmitting to the doctors. And of course, the first question he asks is, what do I do if I want private time? And he's just like, oh, I'll close the eye. Like, so basically I have to shit, like, closing my eyes, and they're like, oh, you could just read a newspaper. It's fucking stupid. Anyway, so basically when he gets home, he, like, is just doing random shit. He's playing some video games, and he puts it down to get some tea, and when he comes back, the controller is in another area, and he's like, whatever. And some shit happens. He goes into his room, and he, like, opens up, or he sees, like, some shit on his bed. Like, a person, except under the covers. He lifts him up, there's no one there. And he's like, oh, whatever. And then, like, he turns around and there's a ghost. So he hides in the bathroom, which apparently ghosts cannot enter. I don't know. Don't ask me. Then he goes out, like, 20 minutes later. And he's, like, walking. There's no one there. And then he looks down the hallway. There's a little girl, and he's, like, freaking out. Then she, like, pops towards him and freaks out, runs inside the bathroom, goes to sleep in the tub. Wakes up in the morning. Some chick is, like, ringing his doorbell that he saw in the hospital. And he's like, oh, hey, what are you doing? She's like, oh, you can see him too. And he's like, what are you talking about? She's like, oh, well, I got in an accident, and they replaced my ears with, like, listening devices. And I'm like, okay. So, basically what happens next is she stays there, and apparently he sees her dead uncle, and she's like, the only way we can get him to leave is if we have sex. Keep looking at me. Desperation. Now, in the end, basically, they wake up and get killed by ghosts. The end. Was it good? Yeah. It's not as bad as the other. Now, it goes back to the view of the chick. And she's basically just, like, staring at it, and then she pops in the second one, which is really shitty. It's basically like some dude, and he puts on, like, a helmet camera, because he's going to go biking. And then he gets bitten by a zombie, and it's basically just the point of view of a zombie. It's really terrible. It's short, boring, stupid, cliche. Done. Now, moving on, we go back to our main characters. The girl's nose is bleeding, and he's like, oh, do you need aspirin? And she's like, yeah, I do. So he's like, okay, I'll go out to the store and get you some aspirin. So he goes out to the store, leaving her behind, which is obviously the best idea when her nose is bleeding. And so she pops in the third tape, which is another good one. It's basically this weird thing about these people want to interview this guy about his religion or some shit. And it's basically a lot in, like, Taiwanese. It's some Asian language, I don't know. And they go there, they go to his resort, his so-called paradise, and they're, like, videotaping everything, and then shit just gets real. And things go weird, and then apparently they're, like, a suicide pact, and they're killing each other. And then they take this pregnant chick, and they rip her open, and they cut stuff on her, and then a demon pops out of her vagina, like a huge-ass goat-headed demon, just tears his way out of her pussy. And then everyone that killed themselves comes back to life, and it's stupid, and it was really good, though. I think they did it well, besides the goat-headed thing had a horrible costume, and it was obviously fake. And in the end, it said Papa to the guy that impregnated the pregnant girl, which I laughed so hard. Anyway, it was good. And then came the final one, but first, it goes back to the dude. He comes home, finds that his girlfriend's completely gone, and he's like, what the fuck, man? So he sits down and watches a movie. Yeah, what would you do? Search the house? Psh, nah, I'm gonna watch a movie, yo. And then the fourth one's fucking stupid. Basically, it starts with these kids playing pranks on their sister and her friends when they're trying to have sex and shit. Basically, what they do is they're just lounging by the lake, and they spray her with, like, squirt guns. And then she's having sex, and they jump in with strobe lights and start having a dance party. It's fucking stupid. And then And then, like, they try and catch one of the kids' friends jerking off, and they do. And then all of a sudden, these aliens just start coming and fucking with them and taking them. And the worst part about this is the whole movie, basically, or the whole thing, is they tie the camera to the dog. So it's fucking horrible. You can't see shit. It's dark, it's boring, and I mean, I love aliens because they're hardly used in horror. It's usually like vampires or werewolves or zombies, something that they can make it really cliche. But fucking aliens is, in retrospect, to all recent films, there's not many alien ones. There's Dark Skies and Signs and what was that one? Fourth Kind. Not many alien movies, to be honest. Like aliens on Earth, not sci-fi. But, and they do it, and it's boring and it's stupid, and it doesn't last very long, which is good. So basically, when that's over, it just goes back to the guy, and he's just like, oh, what was that? And then his girlfriend comes out, and he's like, oh, hey, babe, and she's a zombie, and she tries eating him, and he snaps her neck, and then she starts, like, doing a crab walk, like some Grudge thing, and it's really creepy. So he hides in a closet, and then, like, he pulls out a gun, and she, like, hops in the closet. He shoots her in the face, and then he sees the dude that was there, like, the dude that they were looking for, and he's there, and he kills him. He kills the private detective, and then gives a thumbs up to the camera. Now let me explain this, because I did not explain it well enough. The whole time, between each movie, they, like, get a little dialogue from him. He's talking about, like, oh, this was hard to get, because, like, I had to find the right buyer, and I had to see if it was real or not. And then, like, at the last movie, he's basically just like, I'm gonna make my own movie. And he shoots himself in the jaw, and his whole jaw comes off. And then he gets up and runs out the room. And here's where it doesn't make any sense. 'Cause then the private detectives walk in just as he walks out. First off, they would have heard the gunshot. Second, what about the first movie? What about the burglars that came in the first movie? Are they never going to reference that again? And then, of course, the thumbs up, like when he kills the dude to make his movie. It's fucking retarded. They should have never done that. And then he breaks the camera. And then it's over. Then the camera glitches and it says VHS 2. Now, what can I say about this movie? 2 for 2, not bad. I mean, sure. I don't want the guy that I met to have made any of the bad ones. So I'm really hoping he made the first or the third one. Because otherwise, I'm going to have a bone to pick with him. Plus, he's making a new movie, which I auditioned for, and if I have to be in a piece of shit, I don't want to do that. The thing is, if I do get into the movie, and I am a part of the movie, if I act in it, I'm going to review it. I promise you I will. As soon as it comes out on DVD or anything and I watch it, even if I get to see it before anyone else does, I'm doing a review of it. Yeah. They're probably going to bullshit and say, oh, I'm amazing. Because, yeah, I'm a dick. But, to be honest, it's not that bad of a movie. They could have done so much more. It could have a bigger potential. But, all in all, it's not really watchable. If you do have Netflix, I would watch it. But, only if you're, not opposed to bad movies.
Hey.
So, shut up. Don't be a nigger. Filming here. But if you can, watch it. If you don't like shitty movies, I wouldn't, because you might be opposed to it, or you might like it. Doesn't matter. So, I hope you enjoyed this movie review. It's going to be posted now, and look forward to some more videos today. See you guys later.